let me go to the our first panelist and really understand Mr. Singh, right? So, what do you think are the challenges in terms of denial of service attacks that government infrastructure faces today?
Thank you very much. And first of all, I'd like to thank all audience that such a large number is present after lunch. And it's a certainly very good topic for it's a kind of DOS attack. When anything e-governance happens in our country, it's a very good sign, and for attackers also it's a good sign. They become very active, because initially, I mean, I'll talk about government perspective. What e-governance activity is happening in the country, and it's all database like Treasury, land records, and very important database. Scholarship, the financial information, even all the Treasury. Like morning, Maharashtra Secretary was saying that the Treasury checklist, UP also is getting checklist. It's all through computers being handled and it's being transferred. So it becomes interesting subject for them and for hackers to create some malware and attack on, so that system fails. It's a great embarrassment. It's one topic is DOS attack is not actually creates embarrassment, not data loss. And although we have seen at least in UP, I'm talking my term, it's a common phenomena. And we have to be, actually what happens is, what is the gap? You think about user. Like SWAN or NICNET is like backbone infrastructure, and any user actually they are so powerful guys, bureaucrats and the senior office of the department, they are not very savvy, and they introduce all malwares. They download some emails. Even you try to create some policy, they don't implement. They say very powerful, and whereas malware attackers actually, and then every somebody comes on government organizations like DIT or NIC to work out the policy and protect all kind of network as well as data center as well as your applications. And the challenge is because that user is creating more, external threats are not there that much on at least DDoS attack, because through gateway, internet gateway also filtering all kind of malwares. But think of internal user, those are government employee and very powerful, and if you implement certain policy, many times I keep on coming in contacts, somebody spamming is happening into some IS officer, or national security or CM office. You say please disconnect your system. They will not do it. And when you say, please get your software checked, your scanned, they also not, don't touch my desktop or laptop. So this kind of, it's a problem area. They take advantage, malware person take advantage of this and they introduce kind of embarrassment. And once a lot, the things happens quite well. And it is happening actually every day attacks are taking place. Even sometimes in process goes on, I'll tell you how we have been some kind of, even mitigations part, and it's catching anybody, we can able to find, who has done the attack and how to come out with the kind of solution. Also, when we discuss with the panel,
so,
I'll
yeah.
come out with it.
So essentially what you're saying is the internal or people within the organization, that is, they need to be informed and made aware, and that.
That's a very good topic actually. Right. There should be, because many of the people are from government user side, they need to be trained on policy. They will try to implement the policy. Otherwise, some kind of penalty, because it's a loss for the resource for the country. So everybody has to abide by the rules. It's not that I'm senior, so I not follow the rules. Right. It's a damage to the state or country, that way.
So let me move on to our next panelist, Mr. Anil Sagar, who is actually with the Indian Computer Emergency Response Team, which deals with a lot of such threats and is responsible for. So, Mr. Sagar, what are your views on in terms of the challenges that are there for denial of service attacks?
Denial of service attacks, actually in India we are seeing not that much popular for quite few years. We are seeing DOS attacks only for the last 2 years. But these DOS attacks are not the newer attacks. This is there on the cyberspace since more than 17 years. First DOS attacks were happened in 1996. Then after that, series of different type of DOS attacks have been observed in various cyberspace in the world, across the world, be it in US, Europe, Estonia, Georgia, Korea, and recently in India also. We witnessed our first DOS attack in 2012, where government websites were targeted. So a lot of government websites and ISPs were targeted because of some court order issued by the Madras High Court regarding some banning of websites which are publishing this online content related to audio, video and audio content of 2 Tamilian movies. So that court order was there last year. And after that, in May, around 16, 17 May, this anonymous hacker group got activated and they did a series of attacks for more than 1 month continuously onto government websites and ISPs. So those are got affected. But as terms of our experience, which we are seeing in terms of preparedness, that India is not that prepared to handle these DOS attacks. DOS attack is not something which you can handle reactively. That attack is happening, you become reactive and you can mitigate it. No, you have to have a proper planning in place. Because that DOS attack, when it is coming, which we are seeing from our experience and worldwide scenario. So in fewer, early days, it used to be a few MBs, 10 MB, 50 MB, few MBs. But now the DOS attack, the recent DOS attack which happened on the spam house, a very good security player, that was of 300 Gbps. So you can see that what is the volume of attack. So if we are not well prepared with in terms of our infrastructure, we can't handle these DOS attacks. So we need to have proper planning to handle the DOS attacks.
So very very acute and insightful points made. So we'll come back to the planning and mitigation. So let me pass on the mic to Dr. Neeta Shah to share her perspective in terms of the challenges.
Actually, Gujarat is a policy-driven state. So, though we have created our statewide IT infrastructure in very early in 2000-2001 wide area network, which is today connecting almost all the government offices up to taluka level. And we also have a parallel VSAT based network, which is connecting 13,600 villages. So now these two networks are getting integrated. And our data center, which as earlier server farm was there because we have a lot of servers as well as managing that wide area network. But the systematic data center we have created in 2008 and it is operational since then. And here we have put many security mechanisms. So though the attacks are there, but the users of the government has not experienced so far the effect of the attacks. Because as we have various, as I said, policies, but that I will talk little later, what policies we have. Considering our SBC, we have redundant links, BSNL, Airtel, we have Redware, which is a link-proof load balancer in between internet router and external firewall. We have Cisco 5580 firewall in high availability mode. And we have switch, which is Cisco switch, which is failover protocol. We have Redware Director for web and application servers. We also have VPN. We use this for access on perimeter firewall. VLAN we are creating for all user zone and server zone. As well as internal firewall is there. We use the Squid for internet access, as well as the content filtering is also used because so many users are there. WebSense we are using, and antivirus at all the layers, including the gateway. And we have also recently done that deep security part also. So though there were many virus attacks and we know that, but we are looking for some good log analyzer as well as enhancement of our various components which are there in data center to address these attacks. But users are not very much aware about this.
Yeah, looking at the kind of solutions you have, I'm not really surprised because it's a multi-layered security.
Yeah, because any server which comes into data center, we take lot of care of hardening. Any application comes into data center, then security audit, regular security audit also happens. So, and other policies which I will talk about.
But do you think these attacks are going to increase?
They are increasing day by day. They are increasing day by day.
So, Mr. Ramandeep Singh, if you can throw light on, what you feel are the challenges and how, if you can also begin with the response planning, how one should go about it.
Okay. First of all, thank you very much for making me part of all these esteemed delegates from representing very, very important positions in their respective domains. Coming from a security evangelist / vendor viewpoint, it's really interesting to see Mr. Singh's view that the awareness amongst the user is a continuous process, and until it is very well taken care of, it's always puts us to a situation wherein we are at the realm of facing any kind of advanced security attack or DDoS for that matter, in the context of the subject which we discuss. As very rightly said by Mr. Sagar, that until 2012, we have not seen the major activity in this space of DDoS attack as far as India has been concerned. So we can always say we were almost insulated as far as DDoS has been part of the world, has been witnessing for almost 17 years. But what is there which is common between Mr. Sagar's view and Mr. Singh's view is a fundamental thing as to the changing or a moving target or an objective for doing a DDoS. 17 years ago, it was only for the sake of notoriety. I want to be notorious and I wanted to do a DDoS. And if I say in a class of 30 students in my class, including myself, we were hardly 2 notorious people. So there were 28 good people. So if I see the percentage is very less. Then the notoriety became and evolved itself to something called as a financial gain. So if we see, financial gain can be correlated to a number of transactions which a bank does in a day. Typically 200 million transactions are being done by the largest bank in our country in a day. Out of that, if I have to qualify to a fraud or with the intent of doing an embezzlement, it would be hardly less than 1%. Then we moved on to the next objective of doing a DDoS, and that was causing fear. Fear to the netizens, the people who are coming onto the net, and that's where the terrorism got blended with the freedom on the internet. And the moment terrorism got blended with the flow or the freedom on the internet, took the birth of something new which is called as agenda. Agenda is what is a common day objective. The agenda which the people have in 2012 against the government outlets of India has taken place from a simple directive coming from one high court that, okay, you can't do this. If we see a Spamhaus example which Mr. Sagar has taken, until Spamhaus has happened, the industry has witnessed only 100 gigs of DDoS. Then how come 200 times more attack has taken place all of a sudden? Because the agenda has taken a different shape. Spamhaus is the largest anti-spam service provider cloud in entire Europe. What they did, they blocked one of the spamming organization which was doing, it was Netherlands based, and it tried to tunnel all the spamming objectives. So that's what instigated those people. Though it's not officially recorded and nobody has given a statement from that organization in Netherlands that they have done it, but everybody in the industry except for them believes that that's been launched by them. The next morning on 18th March, they had nearly 300 gigs of attack. And what happened subsequently, they have, the Spamhaus had another organization to take care of such situation for them. What happened? Those guys, they brought down this 300 gigs attack to less than 200 gigs attack, which is a significant improvement in a span of 18 hours.
So do you think such large scale attacks can happen in India?
Absolutely. Now why I am trying to bring agenda as a very, very common objective is that if we see the last 1 year, it has been some official statements going out of our bureaucrats and very, very senior ministerial officers that let's try to block or try to seize internet space. The moment the interference starts happening, the whole objective of the anonymous group is to make internet absolutely free. This is what is an agenda. And agenda gives birth to any kind of a DDoS. While we were, before 18th March, 2013 were believing 100 gigs DDoS is a real dream. And what we have seen is the next morning, 300 gigs of DDoS. 300 gigs of DDoS is good enough to bring down and incorporate a decent amount of latency in the entire business that was happening across Europe. And I take a very important cue from what ma'am has said, that it is the planning and the coordination of that plan makes a lot of sense. And let me tell you, if British Telecom, T-Mobile, ISP1 and Telefonica, these 4 ISPs and the telecom service providers in Europe would not have come under a single table to discuss this situation, Europe would have still been facing the same problem. And we can be, as Indians, as the netizens, and whatever we would like to take a role of, and I'll take to see a very important connect with Harmeet's presentation where it defines that it's your role which defines you what you need to take a position as. So if I take our own roles, it is very important to believe that I can also be witnessing 100 Gbps or 300 Gbps of DDoS tomorrow morning. So let's be all prepared for that, that yes, as Mr. Sagar has said, we are not prepared for this. We are absolutely not prepared for this. And that's what is the whole objective of this forum, to come across. This is a very, very sensitive subject. It can bring down the entire interface of our own citizens today, depending upon, doing. Because there was a time when I used to stand in the line in a queue and I got my passport done in 1 day, and passport used to come in 30 days. Today, my passport comes in just 3 days. And that's what I want to continue to be like a citizen for, connecting to e-commerce.
So let me go back to Mr. Singh. One thing that you raised was awareness. So what else do you think can be done in terms of planning a response or mitigating such attacks?
Actually, what we find in, generally, those who are managing the attacks, actually somewhere not very, public interface people like. Actually, I find in NIC, those who are managing my data center, very embarrassment, sitting at backside, working there 24/7 basis, handling everything. And where the applications are really enjoying life, meeting people, going outside and just enjoying life. Even sometimes I put some duty, handle my network, like Swan or maybe NickNet. I find very little people, like nobody opting for it. And same thing, data center, because actually they're very tough target. Like the way servers are being managed, minor problems, all blames come on them. So overpraised on that, so one way that we should encourage some kind, I don't know really, how to do that, even being a state in charge. I couldn't able to position a good manpower. Actually, one person is there for 20 years. I want to put more team, not able to get. There's nobody opting for it. So one is actually try to
you need to distribute the responsibility.
Interest creation, the data center management guys should be interested. One part actually, that way we have to be very trained people and trusted guys. Lot of responsibility, anything goes hacked or something, he'll be blamed. So they feel afraid of. Like one is part, and second actually that you think of in a country, say policy is not very well defined. Like one is like every states, we got NIC data center, we got SDC, network, and NickNet, and SWAN. Somewhere is very good policy adopted, somewhere is not properly adopted. Somewhere control is not there, because SWAN is not there with NIC or DIT also not have much of control on that. So really you have to work out, that policy on even SWAN, on SDC should properly place. Software-wise, we are very strict, as Madam was saying, that now without audit, form level DDoS attack, mostly actually previously without audit, anything like recruitment taking place, online form, without audit we used to go. But now we are very hard, the DIT and NIC is very hard that without audit you can't load any application. So that hardening is there. Form level thing not there. Now DNS attack is there. So and plus our user is a major bottleneck, internal threat, I'm saying. And really we have to, we have to work out policy and give, creating awareness is quite important. Regular training to be provided. I think DIT is the right agency because most of the, 3 core infrastructure, DIT has to play a very important role. Till today, they have not done it. Creating infrastructure, they have a very important role. On training part, on awareness generation part, DIT should now especially fund it to a state and say that, organize some kind of seminar, workshop, and with the top bureaucrats in the state, and they should take interest, because they are the people top-driven. It's most of things it's top-driven. Otherwise, now users are not very, say NIC handling or DIT is handling, fine, let him, network is their part, So, and data center is somebody else's part, TCS handling TCS part. So everybody getting rid of that. So it should become, ownership should come, and it should be coming only through awareness and workshop program, and it has to be done through DIT, because Government of India, most of these schemes are Government of India, and I find there is a gap. Infrastructure we created, and awareness not created in terms of like how to safeguard ourselves. Like that part is very important.
Right. So let me move to Mr. Anil Sagar and ask his viewpoints in terms of response planning and what steps can we take.
In terms of response planning, as Mr. Manas has also clearly brought out this point in his presentation, that incident response is very much required. So we need to have a structured incident response in every organization and every sector. Without that, we can't handle these large scale or very high profile, high impact attacks. So IR process has to be there, and depending upon the kind of services being offered by that organization and sector. So those IR services should be run on maybe 12-hour basis or 24/7 basis. So without that, we can't handle those kind of attack.
So in terms of, if may I ask, in terms of organizations looking for solutions from consultants or vendors, so how should they kind of define their requirements, or how comprehensive the provisions they should ask for?
For mitigating the DDoS attacks, basically DDoS attacks we call distributed denial of service attacks, which actually are originated from distributed sources, attack sources. So those attack sources are distributed across the world, and they are very dynamic. So the attacker or the who is generating those DOS attack, he is having control of millions of systems under his control, and he is dynamically changing the attack sources. So it's very difficult to put certain kind of filters at your network perimeter. And when this attack is coming of very huge volume, like of this 300 Gbps, so you can't mitigate by putting such filters. So the best thing which has to be there, and which is lagging in our experience, which we are seeing in the Indian cyberspace, is a traffic monitoring. DOS attacks, you can have a detection only by the basis of traffic monitoring. Traffic monitoring means that flow level monitoring, not the content level, but your flow level monitoring. You should have the scenario what kind of a traffic is being there in your organizational network. Without that, you can't detect those DOS attacks. So traffic monitoring is one kind of a thing which has to be in place. Then other thing is required is that at the ISP level, because when attack is coming at very, very high volume, so you can't mitigate by sitting at your organization level, because the traffic which is being targeted to you is of few hundred Mbps or few Gbps. So you can't filter out the traffic by sitting at your organizational network. Then you need to have the arrangement with the international bandwidth provider. So which is providing bandwidth at the international gateway. There has to be arrangement to cut down that kind of attack traffic. So in India, currently only one ISP is offering that kind of a service, which can provide that DDoS protection service. But other ISPs also coming in, which are starting that service. So that service is very much required, because you can put in certain kind of a solution at your organizational network to mitigate the DOS attacks, which are not very high volume, but which are very resource consuming. Because there are two types of attacks. We ourselves experienced DOS attacks last year when it was there by the anonymous hacker group, and when he started targeting the all government websites, High Court website, Supreme Court website, Congress website, BJP website, and ISP's website. Then we immediately issued an advisory to all those organizations to mitigate DOS attacks. So the moment when we issued this advisory, the anonymous hacker groups started targeting us, that now they are issuing the advisory, let them teach a lesson. So then they started their all attack traffic towards us. And that time we were monitoring those discussions which were going on in the chat forums by these anonymous hacker groups. So everybody was sitting with a VPN connection of a few hundred Mbps. So, and they were able to generate that traffic, and they were very smart enough not to, originate traffic from their actual sources. They were coming through VPNs. And that VPNs from, largely from the Sweden, Czech, US, those were used. So we need to have the arrangement with those service providers also. So when this attack is coming in, so one way is that we can handle that attack is one thing, but we need to take an offensive action also against those attackers also. So we need to have that kind of a international cooperation, collaboration also with those service providers, so that we can track down the actual attackers. So one such good thing is there in the US, which we are seeing for the quite long time, which in India also, I mean, we are working to start that kind of operation. The US government starts with in association with the FBI, they start the operation called bot roast. So bot roast is cracking down the botnets. So actually that DOS attack is coming in from the botnets. So there are multiple botnets which are being used to pump in traffic to target any resources. So there has to be crackdown of these botnets. Without cracking down those botnets, we can't control those situations.
So as an organization, does CERT-In have any initiative on information security policy or guidelines for other states and sectors which they can look at and take some preventive steps?
Yeah, in terms of the service, in CERT, we are offering a service for DDoS attack detection and mitigation. And in that, we are monitoring traffic of more than 10 organizations and some critical organizations there. So in that, we are doing the traffic monitoring of these organizations, and we are analyzing the kind of attack traffic pattern which is there. And whenever such any surge or traffic changes are there, we are alerting them, and we are then mitigating also. So that kind of facility is required to be there. Either that organization can build up with their own resources, but it's a very costly affair. So they can approach us also. We are now extending this scheme to the SWANs and the state data centers. So in our next phase, we are extending all this facility to all the state data centers and SWANs, in which we will be doing the traffic monitoring for all those state data centers and SWANs, so that we can study the traffic patterns, and then we can take appropriate mitigation steps in association with the state governments.
Thank you. So, Dr. Neeta Shah, you seem to have a very elaborate and multiple layer, security infrastructure. So, if you can point out from your experience or in terms of your preparedness for such attacks, what portion or what are the kind of things that you think will help prevent Gujarat government from such attacks?
Actually, we have a well-defined security policy as well as asset management policy.
Okay.
And recently, ISO 20000 and 27001. So these are very religiously observed and followed in the state. Second thing is, when we do the tender for any application development or for taking any application developer for statewide integrated project, we write in RFP itself that application developer should use the protocols which are not vulnerable to DDO attacks. So this is there as a part of our RFP. Similarly, when we take the services of ISPs, we also put in SLA that ISP should do the traffic filtering at their level. It is already there in their SLA. As well as when they come across any DDO attack, they should immediately report.
Okay.
So these are there. As well as CERT-In also gives guideline every month, sometimes every 2 months. We always keep all the patches and all the regular updates also in the data center. But the most important thing and core thing we do is building detection capabilities in the state with our composite team in data center. And we are following some 6-step guideline.
Okay.
The first is know your network. As Sagar has said, type and volume of traffic. So all our data center composite team engineers, this is the first step that they do, know your network. Second is know who to call. It is there in our policy that whether for any kind of attack, service provider is to be called or security partner is to be called, or that we also have CISO, Chief Information Security Officer in the state. The third part is know what to do. That is, it is developed internal incident handling process. That also is there in the state. The fourth point is know how to do it. That is, for staff, they practice the process as well as various tools that we have in the data center. It should be available at their disposal, and it should be operated efficiently and effectively, as well as regular security drills also we do This is a regular practice in the state. The fifth one is know what to block. That is online services, restrict the access to those services to only the protocol and ports which are required. That only we keep open. And the last one is know where to block it. That is wisely use the infrastructure, whether it is to be blocked at router, switch, firewall, which level, and learn automated process which is used by the service provider. So this is the 6-step strategy we are following actually.
Very well thought out and comprehensive strategy.
You can use this.
Hello. Yeah. So one of the delegates has asked this question that security has so many dimensions. So in terms of the baseline, is there any security framework which they can base their security structure on? This is a question to you as well as to Ramandeep as well. So would you like to?
I would like to start.
Okay. So first of all, thank you very much, ma'am, for bringing this view. It's been excellent learning while sitting on the next to ma'am and looking at and trying to match with, okay, if I have to build a strategy for my customer to do a DDoS protection framework, at least 5 points out of 7 I would take and just put it from, or I would say I would steal from ma'am, because this is coming from the customer's point of view. And this basically gives a cue to the answer which the delegate is looking for, who is put in the question very rightly. DDoS handling starts with the framework which ma'am has answered in the previous round of discussion, that you have a well-structured in Gujarat state data center that has multi-layered security controls. But security controls are not sufficient as far as the DDoS is concerned, because DDoS cannot be handled by an autopilot mode. Most of the data centers, when they go with the security controls, they assume to be in an autopilot that, okay, I am in a prevention and a good detection, good monitoring mode. The point which ma'am have said, know what you have in your network is a very, very fundamental question to what this delegate is asking. That what should we do? Every organization has to profile their own network. If I don't have a bandwidth of 10 Mbps on my ISP, why should I plan to block a DDoS of 1 gigs? It is never going to happen. When I have a bandwidth of 10 gigs and my service provider is not the kind of a service provider which Mr. Anil Sagar has talked about, who gives a DDoS cleaning, then no matter I try to put any kind of an SLA, I don't know what's he going to do when the actual attack would happen. It would be living in the world of feel-good factor. So that's what is the first line, knowing what you are handling as far as data is concerned and your infrastructure is concerned. Then I like the next very interesting point. Know where to go when the problem happens. So they know if the DDoS is less than 1 gig, why should I escalate a process? I should have my own in-house inherent capabilities in the network to handle 1 gig of 1 Gbps of DDoS. Because the good news is that 78% DDoS attacks, now this is what I don't say, this is by the worldly wise DDoS agencies who are handling the DDoS across the globe. They say more than 78% of the attacks in the DDoS in 1 year are seen to be less than 1 gigs. So why should I go to certain? Why should I going to the my ISP to handle? I should have a self-sustaining, self-resilient infrastructure to handle 78% of my problem. Because if everybody starts to go to certain or to ISP, and in the event of DDoS, let me tell you, they don't target one company at all. You can ask Mr. Sagar. If they're targeting 5, 10, 20 organizations in one single attempt. And if ISP is common to all these 10 organizations, imagine what is the state of affairs he would be in that situation. So I will have to handle that 78% of situation as per the statistics. I don't write those statistics. I'm again saying, I can give all those inputs to you where you can refer to those statistics. So if I assume those statistics are right, 80% of the situation you have to handle it yourself is what even Gartner has said in the recent discussions on the DDoS. Coming to the next objective, then the next 18 to 19% of the attack is less than 10 Gbps. Now therein where ma'am has put in a very right point that I should be knowing where I should be deploying in the time of emergency or exigency, what kind of frameworks of security controls. So my DDoS protection should always not be live as far as 110 gig storage term. So if the attacks escalates from 1 gig to 10 gig of flood, then I should have triggering that process in my organization, whether that would mean calling a certain, or what would that mean calling CBI or calling anybody in intelligence or whatsoever. So that depends upon the legal and the other framework. Remaining rest 1% of the situation is when we all of us have to sit down together as a private public partnership, because that's a real skill expectation. Handling a 300 gigs DDoS or even 100 gigs DDoS is, let me tell you, is not just a tools and a strategy and a plan. It requires immense amount of capability and skill at that point of time. And we all know that we are not in a dearth of skill. But the problem is that we don't collaborate. Why? Because we don't talk about this problem. We don't go to, we are so afraid of media that the moment I talk about this, I will be under the media, and media also has to be more sensible, not to exploit this situation, rather it should be doing a, productive job.
We have put up some policy and procedures for minimizing the DDoS, 3-4. First is, we have acceptable usage policy enforced in the state, so that PCs, desktops, they are all secured from getting infected. Second is, we have put end-to-end, starting from gateway up to the deep security antivirus. We have Trend Micro, who has just come here in the state. Third is, we always make sure that servers which are coming, the server hardening procedure in place prior to deployment in the data center. And we only allow authorized software. Many people from NIC are here. Actually, applications which are developed by NIC, they try to push without security audit in data center. We do not allow them. No. And user says they want everything yesterday, and we cannot do that. So though it is delay, but delayed, we allow the delay, but we don't allow without security audit of the software. And as I earlier said, regular patching also. Our data center operator, as well as the team of composite team which is managing this data center security and all that, they are very well trained actually. And regular patching,
maybe
periodic
you can pass
vulnerability.
on some training.
We also do vulnerability assessment also regularly. That part also happens, and penetration testing of the network resources. So this helps us.
So, yeah.
See, basically now security audit, certainly living in a society where there is a lot of pressure, because sometimes a CM wants tomorrow, yesterday. So actually, and we let some criticize, gets criticized, like application developed in 1 month, and testing CyberQ and all listed guys, those who are on listed person 13, or it was take 2 months time, more than double, application development. So how to manage, this is one area. And about mitigation, that within the country, managing anybody throws any virus, like I'll give an example like drill, Last year, I got one, one of my data center guy came to me suddenly, somebody trying to hack the site. And prior to that, they were like, a terrorist attack, it's a quote, a bomb, And that time, actually, he was psychologically in mind. He read some mail, came from France or something that's like some bombs being disposed of in courts in UP. And suddenly this also came, attack. So he came, actually, the mode of operancy is same terrorist. And unfortunately, what happened, out of excitement, I called Principal Secretary home. Yes, actually, they are trying to attack our network. And this fellow, actually, the Principal Secretary home, he said to DGP, you'll not believe, I'll not name the company, within 4 hours, they, all that persons from CyberQ guys, the entire company people, they have come to Noida Thana, within 4 hours. And we found that my auditor, one of my auditor, he has gone on leave and he was from office, he was trying to do something, like that way. So within the country, finding out everything is quite simple now. It's only outside, from China. They say how to do that. So like internal cooperation is required, like, the entire country has to work out, on that.
Right.
part.
So we need more collaboration, more monitoring, and more controls. With that note,
Sanjay, I'll like to add just
I
1
think we are
minute. I'll not take
overshooting
more
the
than
time.
1 minute.
Yeah.
I'll take only 1 minute. Why? Because in what I'm going to say next, in the most DDoS discussion forums, this gets untouched. So it's very important for us to know this point, that there is something called as a reverse DDoS issue also. Until we follow what is being followed in Gujarat and what CERT-In always recommends for most of our organizations to participate in the penetration testing and periodic vulnerability assessments, let me tell you, we will never be able to handle the reverse DDoS if it happens in my data center. Reverse DDoS means compromising my server, making it as a CNC, and making that attack to happen in US and making US government to pressurize government of India that you are attacking us. So the same citizens of US will compromise my infrastructure to do this. This is version number 1. Version number 2 of this attack is that I know this is a passport site. Sorry to take this example, but for any country, if it's a passport site and I know that they are doing 100,000 passports in one day, what should I do? I should just blacklist them in the RBLs. Today we all know that there are RBLs who block the IP addresses in the ISP space. So what they do is they target that data center hosting server, and that hosting server starts sending the spam and many other things outside as a DDoS. And what happens? Virtually all RBLs across the globe, they block this particular IP address of your web server. And what you do is you end up changing your own IP addresses, or you end up compromising for multiple hours for not being accessible from the world. So this is very, very important of understanding, and at times it gets missed on, so I thought it's my responsibility to bring across the table.
Yeah, I would like to add to this, what he's saying is very right, reverse loss DDoS. So it is actually happening. We are handling those cases in which the servers, web servers from India are being used to target systems in US. A lot of servers from India got compromised in the recent 8 months' time. We are seeing those incidents from US side because we have a one-to-one cooperation with US CERT, and we are working very closely. So in the recent 10 months, we are seeing an increase in such kind of incidents in which earlier the hacker used to target the bot-infected machines and used to generate attacks from those bot-infected machines. But now, in the newer kind of a attack trend, they are now compromising the web servers. The web servers, because they are having very rich resources in terms of CPU and memory and bandwidth. So in that, they are loading a very small scripts that call booter shells. So that booter shells are loaded into the web server when admin is not properly monitoring their resources. So a small script is being loaded into their servers, and the hacker is having remote control to those booter shells. And when earlier the attack used to happen from millions of bot-infected machines, now they are taking from hundreds of web servers only, because those web servers are having very high bandwidth and resources, so they can pump in very high.
So they are using other infrastructure.
So that is actually happening in India. We are seeing those attacks.